Okay, so I'm by myself today. Well, my kids are out here playing on their bikes, but we came up to some local trails, and my camera partner, my wife, she's at work, so it's one of my days off. But I wanted to kind of go over with you not just the shooting aspect of this site, this EZV site, but a little more along the lines of how I particularly set it up. You know, I watch the videos, the setup videos, and all that fun stuff, and just like everything else in this world, there's a certain aspect of doing it hands-on that changes your aspect of it. Kind of, I guess, is the maybe I'm using the wrong word for it, but it just changes. There's a difference to you doing it yourself, aside from you know, watching somebody else do it. So for me, personal, what helped me when I was setting this site up was, you know, I followed the basic rules of the paperwork that gets shipped out with it, the target that shipped out with it. I followed all the rules as far as finding out what my insert from my bow was, with my arrow set up and all that, the foot-pounds that it's shooting. It goes over all that. It's very actually easy to set up. Aside from that, but when I was using it facing the mil dots, the mil dots to me, I mean, I love the aspect of the mil dots because what they do for me is, if I want more of a pinpoint accuracy, I'm talking target shooting, competing with your buddy, seeing who's better, I flip it around and use the mil dots. And the reason why I do this is because it allows me to be a little more pinpoint accurate, just such as using sight pins. Like I said, it's a little more pinpoint accuracy. Now, using the mil dots throughout a hunt, you can still do that and not use rangefinder. My personal preference is, if the mil dots are there, I start to second guess myself on yardages, and if I'm splitting that V on the animal's vitals the right amount, because, you know, I'm paying attention to the pins and guessing how far away I am, and you know, like I said, your mind starts to play games and it starts to second guess. That's what I've noticed when I'm shooting 3D with the pins and I'm not using my rangefinder, when I'm just shooting. Now, the reason why I flipped mine to where there's no mil dots is because I got comfortable enough with knowing, to a certain extent, of knowing exactly how much of that animal I should see it, no matter what yardage I'm at. It's the same amount of animal that you see at no matter what yardage you're at. So like I said, how I did it is I shot with it for about 2 days or so with the mil dots. And after I shot with the mil dots, other than the fact that it was really nice for me, is that there was no blurry pins. That was my biggest reason for going for this site, was no blurry pins. I've tried all kinds of different sites and sizes of pins, and some people's clarifiers work for them. You know, I wanted a site that kind of eliminated that aspect. I mean, got rid of it completely. There is no having to go back and forth trying to figure out which one's best, yada yada. That's the reason why I went for this site. So, aside from the fact that there's no blurry pins to get in my way, I can see the animal's vital organs clear as day, no matter what yardage I'm at. The way, when I flipped mine, when I decided to flip it and do no mil dots, what I did is, I went out one day. Okay, so I shot, like I said, I shot for 2 days with it and flipped it. And then what I did is I went back out, I don't know, like half a week later, when I had a little bit of time to take a drive and go shoot on some hills and you know, hills to flat ground, kind of like acting as a tree stand situation, stuff like that. What I did is I flipped that sight back around to where I had the mil dots, and what I did is every shot I range found everything out, and then once I pulled up the rangefinder and it pulled my range, I put the pins up. But what I was actually more focusing on was what the sight of the deer looked like to me at different angles, quartering away, quartering to, from above, from below. I know it's you're centering that sphere that he talks about in the videos, that Aaron Lasko talks about in the videos, and I mean, like I said, when you start doing something, for me at least, when I start doing something, there's always a little bit difference to what I think he's talking about, or they are talking about, and what is actually I'm seeing as a sphere. You know, I could be, in my mind, I think the sphere is a lot smaller, or in my mind, the sphere is a lot bigger. So what I did is, when I flipped that sight back over to the mil dots, I range found everything out. Every spot I shot at, I picked up the rangefinder, range found it. When I brought that bow up and that EZV, I put that on that deer. I determined my best way to see it, to where I know the sphere he's talking about. And he actually goes over it a little bit in one of his videos. I did go back and watch it, and he does touch a little bit on that sphere a little bit. But if I cover up that front shoulder with the left side of my V, I cannot see that left shoulder, or just in front of that left shoulder. It just depends on where I'm trying to place that arrow. This is all based off of what angle you're at, but in my aspects, from shooting broadside or just a hair quartering away, that front shoulder is more or less not visible to me. And where I like to place my arrows, that front shoulder is not visible, and what I like to do is I like to see about halfway down the stomach. If I can see halfway down the stomach and that left side of my V is covering up that shoulder, my arrows are going to be in that kill zone. I mean, no matter what angle or anything like that, as long as it's not a dramatic quartering away or a dramatic, quartering to. But other than that sphere, my arrow is still going to hit where I want to if I cover up that portion of the animal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to have my son just hold my phone. I'm going to take a couple shots of this deer. I'm up on a hill. I don't know how to explain it. It is a hill that tapers down actually pretty steep. I'll show a view of it, and then it flattens out and plateaus out. My deer is out on the plateau, so that way it's more like a tree stand. I know it's a little bit farther of a shot, but it is more like a tree stand. And I've got a headwind that is coming almost directly at me, to my face. So I'm gonna have him hold the thing. I'm gonna shoot the bow, and I'm just gonna kind of point to you where, what I was covering up. I'll have my son hold the phone. I'll walk down. I'll show you the arrow placements, but then I'll show you where my V is at any given time, other than a a really extended quartering away shot where you'd move the V back a little bit. But more or less, the V still, if you come up on that shoulder and that half stomach, and then you just slide you more or less move it to the right or the left, whatever way he's quartering away from you, it still is the same thing as putting up on that shoulder and that center stomach. You're just moving it back a little bit, so you're hitting those vital organs from a strong angle. So, all right, well, I'm gonna have my son hold my phone. I'm actually gonna flip my screen if I can. I don't know how to do this thing very good. Okay, Hunter, you're just gonna have to actually just hold it like this.